Ready to go? I think it's 5:30. We will call to order the meeting of the Board of the Community Development, Rollingwood Community Development Corporation on Monday, June the 8th. First item being roll call. Pat, would you start us off?
Yeah. Pat Sheehan.
Brian Ryder.
Arun Natason.
Bobby Hempling.
Kathy Casey.
Fred Hartman.
Which is all of the serving members of the Community Development Corporation at this time. I asked, I bumped into Barry Del Cambri a few weeks ago, who told me he would be resigning because he was moving out of town, and I asked Alan whether we had received a resignation, and he sent it over to me, so we have one vacancy on our board. We don't appoint a new board member. That's up to the city council. Phil?
Yeah.
Okay, you got the ball. There are apparently, the way the city operates is, they take volunteers, and operate off of that list for the most part, but it's entirely up to the city council how they fill this, vacuum, but I will be requesting that they do it so that we have a full complement to work with. Next item is public comments. Do we have any public comments? Do we have anybody on the Zoom at all? No. Okay. No comments? Hearing no comments, we'll pass that one. Let's go to item number 2, which is minutes from last meeting. Do I have any thoughts, input, output, complaints? Anything from anybody? Do I then have a motion to adopt?
I think Alan and his group, y'all done a good job of like getting everything back in order, so thank you for doing all that.
Can I take that as a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is taken care of. Discussion and possible action, item number 3, on resolution approving budget amendment number 1 for the RCDC fiscal year. This was the implementation of our discussion, as evidenced by the minutes from last month's meeting. And the staff has created a resolution amending the budget and a schedule of that amendment. I would note that Emily Doran hasn't been president for a couple of years, and we need to change that on the signature line. Bobby, would you go over the changes on the budget that we have made in accordance with the terms of that minutes that we just adopted?
Yes, so, excuse me. So the MOPAC legal expenses, we added $25,000 back to that into the budget. We have a park improvement increase to $55,000, which should fund our portion of what we have. We took the $55,000 out of the mobility, connectivity, and safety, which was sidewalks and perceived trails along bee caves, and then the park amenities and promotion, we took out $3,000. So it leaves us with $28,000 less spent on our ongoing budget. So we'll go over the April financials, but they really kind of have changed significantly from the May meeting and this now.
The finances that we get, the financial reports we get from the city are a month or 2 months behind. I mean, for example, we're working on April numbers right now, and here we are in June. And so that's something that we have to bridge every month, and Bobby deals with that. Bobby, we also talked about getting rid of a COVID release item, but a relief item. Was that budget?
It didn't have any money in it, so it was a
zero,
line item
okay.
with a zero balance.
And a retail coach item, was that?
Same thing,
same
zero
thing?
budgeting. So
Okay.
these are only the ones that had dollars assigned to them.
Okay, fine. With that, I'm okay with the amendment, other than I have to sign it instead of try to find Emily, who I can't get on the phone or by email. So, Any further comment or discussion? Actually, I guess I should ask for a motion first, but under parliamentary procedure, could I have a motion to approve the budget amendment number 1 with the
I'll make
correction
that
of the
motion.
signature? Bobby moves, second, any second? I'll second. So we can get on, any discussion, any further discussion? We're either asleep or agreeable. Agreeable, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 4 is discussion and possible action on a resolution updating authorized bank signatories for our bank accounts. And number 5 is a companion in a way. It's updating the resolutions for the investment account signatories for the tax pool accounts. So we have banking accounts and we have the tax pool accounts. Think of it as the checking account and the savings account. Fundamentally, is why we have the 2 there. We get a little more interest on the tax pool account. Alan, I noticed in the form that the form that we have been given approves people, including me, to borrow money for the corporation, which I don't think is appropriate. But that's just a question of how we fill in the blanks. What I would like to do today is just get an approval for items 4 and 5, if anybody doesn't have any problems, other than my question about authorizing anybody to borrow money, since I don't think we need to do that, but without city council having a long discussion on the subject. I would like to approve 4 and 5, and then Bobby and I and Alan, if needed, and Abel will just get together and work our way through the paperwork of getting the signatures. Pat, that's gonna need you too, I think.
I don't think I'm on it this time.
No, you're not on it, but you're a secretary. You
Okay.
have to certify the new officers,
Okay.
who the officers are. That's the only thing that I
Alright.
think you're, so we'll just, Bobby and I will work through the paperwork with Alan. We'll leave we'll sign up here, leave it with you, and you can come by whenever
Yeah,
you
come by
want
and
to,
sign
and
it.
we'll sign it. So with that, I'd like a motion to approve items 4 and 5.
I'll so move.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, further discussion? Then a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That being taken care of, we move quickly to item number 6, which is my item that I put on about possible dealing with erosion control measures, and I want to postpone that until we talk about item number 7, which is Bobby's item of financials, but also, Bobby, don't we have in there, perhaps I'm looking at an old copy, yeah, item 7, item 6 is financials, item 7 is the erosion control, item 8 is permissible categories of project.
Right.
I would like to take item 8 out of order because it is, I think, a preface to the other 2 about, whether we talk about erosion control and how the financials are presented, et cetera. So I don't have any great objection. I would take item 8, and this is Bobby's item. I gave all of us a large file when our new members came on board a few months ago of all of the documentation that I have collected over the years of the statutory authority, which is where we start, for the ability of this organization to exist, which is basically now Chapter 505 with some reference back to Chapter 501 of the Local Government Code. When this organization was created back in 2002, it was in a different place in the statutes, and that's why it's called a B corporation. There was A's and B's, and there's still references to B corporations, but it's just a historical fragment of the way the statutes were organized. And if you attempt to read the Texas statutes, here's the lawyer speaking, or the professor speaking, I guess, about the way things happen in Texas is the legislation is passed, and then every 2 years after that, people throw amendments in, and sometimes the amendments are carefully written so that they fit, and sometimes they don't, and you end up with this hodgepodge. Stan, would you like to, am I right or wrong about that?
You can take an entire class on conflict of laws to sort out legislation.
And that's what we've got with chapter 505 and 501. But I gave us that to take a look at, which is the statutory basis within which we operate, and then I gave us also the ballot language in 2002 that we went to the public here in Rollingwood and got authorized what we can do within what was allowed in Article 5190 at the time. And then the certificate of incorporation, which also tells us what we can do. So that is the data that I bring to the meeting, and I've given a copy, by the way, to Nikki to put into the package for the record of this, so that we can have the discussion now that Bobby wants to have about what we have authority to do. The chair recognizes the treasurer to take it away.
So I'm more pointed, I think that we have all kind of looked at the packets and we have an idea of what we can and can't do, mainly, project-based. But we've talked about the parks for quite a while. The previous RCDC talked a lot about business development along the commercial corridor. I think that's kind of been quashed down, but we're sitting on, closing in on $1 million. We probably have 300-ish allocated towards the park in our heads, or that we're leaning towards. So we have another $600,000 to think about. So I wrote down some ideas. I thought maybe everybody else might have taken some ideas just on projects that we may want to start exploring as individuals. I did some, I'm on the WhatsApp group that goes around the neighborhood. You hear a lot about public safety. So I wrote down multiple ideas, some of which are popular and some of which are very divisive. I thought there had been a time where we'd talked about rebuilding the town hall. I think that's kind of gone out, but do they need funds for the town hall to continue with? Retail coach continuation, if that's something somebody wanted to do. So just starting to talk about ideas, and then it gives us direction on maybe what we want to chase down with the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have available.
I think that's entirely appropriate. I come to this group from back in 2002 as a coach of my kids in Little League fields up there, and my primary motivation for getting involved in creating this organization was to get some money to get the fields in better shape, and that's happened. But my heart is with the park, but I definitely agree that we have a need and an authority, if we want to do it, to talk about projects that Bobby's talking about. And a couple of years ago, this group hired an outfit called the Retail Coach to do some evaluation of where we were with respect to the businesses on BK Road that basically fund us and are the businesses that we would be needing to help.
Well, they drive tax revenue.
And they're the source of our tax revenue. And so by helping them, we end up helping ourselves, and we have to do some policy judgment. Remember, folks, that we come up with projects to some degree. Sometimes it's instructed by the council when they need money for park improvements or whatever they want to do, and if it's within our realm, they can kind of tell us that we need a project of such and such. But that, as of right now, we don't have much instruction from council. I have talked to several members of the council just to ask about timing, because and Bobby, I think your numbers are wrong on 300,000 as to what we ought to have in mind, because I think they want more, but they don't really know exactly what they want. And I've asked the question to Phil and others, two other members of council, are you ready for us to try to start defining a project and getting some estimates of costs of what might be involved in park improvements project, other than the things we've already taken on. meaning the paving of the parking lot, the parking area, the recapture of the old, or the informal parking behind the fields that's now just gravel, recapture that as green space, and then the whole issue of the off-leash area and what improvements would need to be done for that. And the answer I got uniformly was, we think that there is a willingness within the community to spend money to do those things, but we don't know the definition of what it is that really are going to be coming up to do, and so we can't put a budget together yet, and so it's early for us to be working on trying to define a project and fund something. When it gets to the point that the project gets defined, then it'll come back here and we'll have to deal with it.
Well, I think it'll be defined for us, and then it'll be asked if we'll fund it. The Parks Department and the City Council will do that. I mean, we're within a couple $100,000. I mean, I think it was, if you talk to a council, they said, what, $300,000 to $500,000 is what it was looking for, ish.
Hi, Phil McDuffie, Rollingwood City Council. So right now, my understanding is we're in process of getting bids and instruction on the parking lot and excavating that back area. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff with the upper park, and it's going to be in phases. So right now, the city is looking into working on those issues, getting some degree of bids, all of that kind of thing, and then we'll be coming back on that. That's probably the first phase of what will be occurring, and then in that is the separate dog area later on, shortly thereafter, not putting it off, just it just the way things are going to be constructed, it makes sense for the phasing of that. So right now we're kind of looking at those two initial phases, and city staff is working on that. So when we have dollar amounts, I mean, with inflation and prices going what they are right now, I don't know what the final thing. I agree with that. I think it's probably going to be more than 300,000, but we honestly don't know right now.
And we may not fund the whole thing either. We may contribute towards it.
Agreed. Let me take one step back and just refresh everybody's memory, subject to council correcting me, but however a project is defined, we have to adopt the definition of a project under our statutory authority, and then we have to have a public hearing about it, and then we have to adopt the project subject to council approval. Everything we do basically is subject to council approval. Now, how much we can actually implement is up to us, and we can make a deal with the council. In the past, the council has approved a project and a budget, and we have gone out. This organization has contracted with contractors and made progress payments and gotten things done. It doesn't have to be that way. We can just write one check to the city, and the city runs the whole show. The council will decide those kind of things, and we serve at the pleasure of the council to do that. The last part, and Fred, this is part of what your part of the minutes were last time, was to say we have to publish. We don't actually have to, but there is a great incentive to publish a notice of adoption of projects that this organization needs to do, because we're not supposed to spend money on projects until we've had a notice published for 60 days. Alan took instructions from our last meeting, and we published in the Austin American Statesman as well as on our website the 3 projects that we have defined in the resolutions 04, 05, and 06. So we're getting back into the process, which hadn't been done, frankly, for a while. And so we do have a procedural devices that we have to go through, and so when the council says on some Wednesday, here's what we want to do, we don't write checks on Friday, unfortunately. We do have a process that we have to statutorily go through. Did I do okay, Stan?
Yes, that's a good summation.
Thank you. with respect to the retail coach investment that that this group had made, with Arun's help, I got from the retail coach some of the reports that they were given. I never got any copies of those, Bobby. I don't know if you did or if Kevin and not Kevin, but
Colin and,
Colin and Emily got those.
they were running it.
And we talked about them in meetings, but I never got those. I was hoping to find in that material just a census of what's out there, but it's the material I got, which was the final report, which is all that there was. I mean, we got 5 or 6 pieces of data, and I wrote many emails over a period of an entire month until I finally wrote an email a week or so ago that said, if you're having mechanical troubles, send it to Arun and he can figure out the technology. 90 minutes later, I had all that material in simple PDF form. I don't know how you're known in the technical world, but using your name resulted in a quick retrieval of information that we needed. But Bobby, it is a combination of where we have standalone businesses, the name of the business, but where we have something like Myra Vista, which has 10 or 12, 15 different tenants there that we might need to know who's there and what they might, talk to them about what they might need. It's lacking. It just says Myra Vista Shopping Center. So we're going to have to figure out how we can help these people and what it is we can do.
Or if we want to. I'm not saying we want to, I'm just throwing it out there as
Well,
one of the options.
I want to do something for them. They're funding us. In the far past, we did a few water lines and sewer lines and things like that to where extensions could be made off of our system to serve businesses, and I'm certainly open to doing that more. The census that we got showed only 2 vacant sites, and I don't know where in the world those are along. I think there's one just before coming this way on Rollingwood Drive, just before you hit the McDonald's on the right. There is a place that there is a piece of property probably at the end of
Los Lomos.
That's at the end of Peak Road down below. That property that's for sale, you mean?
Yeah, there's a sign
Yeah.
on something for sale and saying it's zoned for such and such, and I
Yes.
have no idea who
Sign's
owns it or
been
what
there
it is.
Years.
It's been there a long time. It must be very hard to develop that.
It is straight up.
That side of the hill.
So, but there's very little vacant property to need water and sewer services, is what I'm saying, so I don't know what we can help. I would like, for example, to do things like, Arun told me that when, People's Pharmacy opened up over in the Myra Vista Shopping Center, we could put something in the water bill or do a little something handout around the city and just let people know that they're there and encourage people to buy local. There's lots of little things we can do, and I think we should do. And then bigger things, we'll see what opportunities come up. And I personally want to start talking to the managers of a few of those businesses and asking them how we could help if we can. But all of these are policy matters. I know there is, I'm talking to a couple of members of the city council who say, we don't need you to do that. So ultimately, we will have to have that discussion with city council about how we spend this money. All right, do you want to discuss this further?
Retail coach or just spending as a whole?
No, spending as a whole,
Yeah,
conceptually.
I mean, again, the echo chamber that I exist, I think Arun, you're in that WhatsApp group too. It's like public safety seems to be a focus, and
What would we do?
I don't know. So just let's ask the Rollingwood Police Department what we could help them with would be one thing.
Well, what can we do statutorily?
Project based, like I looked up, we could do a drone for them if they needed a drone. We could do traffic safety and speeding restrictions. We have that new 25 mile an hour speeding
Speed
law that we have, but nobody's enforcing it. It's like kind of ridiculous at this point. Although they were out night before last or 2 nights before, and they pulled some people over.
Excuse.
We could do those signs that used to say, "Hey, we enforce the speed limits." strictly in Rollingwood. You know, you used to be afraid to drive through Rollingwood as a kid because you're gonna get a ticket.
Yeah.
But we could do something along those lines. Those were just some of
What
the,
about license plate readers?
I have that as a list. I think that, which I think is a great idea, but I think there's equally as many people that say it's not. So it would definitely be one of those
That
devices.
has been a flaming political issue in other cities. I
Well,
think,
and
I don't-
Charlie,
I don't
just
care.
if I can interject, Charlie made a strong argument, and we could look at it, that that would not be permissible with RCDC money
I looked
in,
at
in a
that, but
previous
I
meeting.
disagree. I mean, I
Okay.
think we could.
You're talking about the readers?
The license plate readers,
Okay, well,
and
that's gonna be a political issue for council before.
Depends on how you pay for it and how you phrase it, but it
Okay.
can be looked at as infrastructure. I don't know that we can do ongoing services.
we would just have to look at it. As far as the speeding, I'm not on the forums on purpose. However, I have heard that apparently there's quite a bit of upset because there has been a lot more enforcement and people are upset about the fact that there's enforcement. So
Well, that's
just
the
to
people
defend
that
our
take it,
police,
like
I
you
would
said.
say they're out there, they're
Doing their
They're-
job.
doing their job.
Yes.
I would like to go on the record as saying that I appreciate all the tickets that Rollingwood Police have written
too.
and all the enforcement that they've done. And if anyone has a problem with that, if it's controversial, I'm more than welcome to take that heat to whatever degree I would as a member of this body. But I mean, as a citizen of Rollingwood, we're going to have a serious accident out on this Rollingwood Drive. And it's probably going to involve a kid. It's probably going to involve one of these electronic scooters and these daredevils that ride them.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the most serious issues that we face in this town. And, you know, no matter how many hundreds of thousands of dollars we spend on the park, that's really not going to matter when we start losing lives like that. So
Great.
I would just encourage people to, you know, grow a spine if
And if we-
and deal with
maybe
people who
things
are
about-
upset about that.
I've seen speed limit signs with kind of red lights around them
Mm-hmm.
that flash as the.
Well, we do, the police do have the traffic calming thing that clocks your speed, says our speed limit is 25, flashes at, and that is deployed at various areas from time to time when they get a request that speeding has increased in these areas. I personally have seen the police out significantly more than before.
Likewise.
In the last 30 days or so, I would
Yes.
say.
I don't know if it's,
Yes.
but anyway, I
If we
would say
could-
it's a
if we
little
could
longer
buy
than that. but-
Another couple of those signs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that
That would be
anything we can do to
perfectly
help,
appropriate.
because they only have so many, there's only so much manpower that they have available to them.
Right.
So let's give them
And we're
tools that they
typically
can.
short all the time, Bobby.
Yeah,
I
I know.
don't think we're fully staffed. Are we? Are we not?
No, not quite.
So more signage and more prominent signage might be helpful.
Mobile cameras was one of the ideas. So I'm just saying, maybe we ask Rollingwood Police Department what they need, and we have funds available, and help do some force multiplying.
And-
I
My
would
understanding
just want to make sure that we're doing things that are statutorily allowed.
Likewise. Do we ask the police department or do we ask the council what they need? Because,
Well, ultimately, the council has to approve it, Fred.
right.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is from the committee, my husband's on that safety committee, and my understanding is that, there's been a lot of discussion on that committee about more lights in the neighborhood. Not necessarily to shine on people's houses, but just making
Street
sure
lights.
that, pardon me?
You're talking about streetlights?
Streetlights, yeah, more streetlights. And I never even drove around and thought about that, but
Stan,
There
what
are
is
some
the,
dark-
what's your quick
dark
take?
places.
Would that be within our parameters of the possibility?
Yes. You would need to make some factual findings that it's related to municipally owned improvements, streets and roads for business protection and, overall public health and safety, that sort of thing.
Okay.
There's also a lot of people who believe in more of the dark sky, so that is a controversial
Yeah.
issue
Well, it'd
in the
have to-
community.
It'd have to be the focus.
Ground level.
Yeah,
I think that, my point would be is that I think that most people in the community would support some type of spending for public safety, for our police departments, and other than the people that just got a ticket maybe. So I would say that that's a good place to focus.
Mr. Thomas?
If I may, yes. I know there are some things statutorily you can expand on improving public safety. Some of the things are counterintuitive, so my recommendation would be invite the chief of police here to the next meeting so that she can kind of explain what it is. Because as much as street lights make you feel pretty safe in your house, it also allows people to walk around without a flashlight and drawing attention to themselves. It's a whole lot easier. There's a reason why crime spikes when it's a full moon. It's probably not because it's a full moon, it's because now I can see without having to have the flashlight drawing people's attention. And so brighter streets are often more dangerous. That's all I know. The chief of police knows a lot more than me. She also knows her department's ability, because drones are great, but if we have one police officer working or two, who's operating the drone?
Yeah.
So I think with her input, I think you would be able to better manage where your funds are going to make sure you're spending on something that's reasonably able to be applied in the street to actually realize some real benefits.
And my understanding is that someone representing the police have been in on these discussions with that committee about safety.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the chief of police,
Yeah.
or if it's somebody else.
Yes, the chief has been heavily involved. We talk about policing issues every single day. So, yeah.
We talked months and months and months ago about getting with the police department and asking them and trying to spend some money, and then the RCDC just kind of faltered for a while on what they were doing. And so I think it's a worthy discussion, and I think having chief would be a great idea.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. Let's move forward on that.
Could I ask Councilman McDuffie a quick question? When do you anticipate that the city will be ready to make the request for the park funds? That's one thing that I don't think you touched on. We just talked about how it'll be more than $300,000.
Well, we don't know a final number. I mean, right now, the city is
Well, okay.
actively working
How about
on it.
ballpark? We won't hold you to it.
I would think concrete parking lot, the area that we're looking at with the curbs and plantings and all of that is probably going to be about in the ballpark of 300,000-ish, that alone. I think as far as doing the sprinkler system, I don't know. It's out of my purview, but redoing the sprinkler system is also something that we want to do on the whole upper park and perhaps on the lower park as well. And then just taking that back area and having that reconstituted in dirt. As far as the laying of the sod, I just had a discussion with council member Glasheen. As you know, last time we went out and got some of the members of the community to lay sod. People seem to have a fun-ish time with that, and it's an easy job, and it's a way that we can save money for the city, just to get the sod delivered and lay it out there and start getting it sodded when we get to that point.
Knowing that we have close to $1 million, how much money do you think that the council will be requesting of the RCDC to fund whatever we need to do in the park?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why RCDC would object to fully funding what is going to be in the park, but that will be something that you guys can discuss and can push back on, should you decide to do that. But as you say, given the fact that we're closing in on $1 million, we're certainly not going to probably spend $1 million revitalizing the park. I would think it's appropriate to fully fund it. However, we will be doing the city hall at some point in time, and I imagine at some point in time we may want to beautify and do a lot in the lower park down here, because that's going to be an area here near the city hall when we get to that phase and that type of stuff. So there's always projects that we can use the money on. But we're not going to be wasteful with money.
Of course not. no, I just thought it'd be helpful to get an idea
Sure.
of what the, I anticipate you'll have plenty of support for beautifying the park on our board.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Fred, I think part of the problem, just from my experience being in the real estate development business, is gonna be the sequencing of things. I mean, you don't wanna build something and then roll a bunch of trucks over it.
That's certainly one of the problems right now with the parking lot, given the fact that they're running large, heavy equipment on the existing parking lot. There's major potholes up there right now. I will express it here publicly on recording that I have said until that back gate is welded shut, we're not going to be putting in a new parking lot when they're going to be running big backhoes and excavators.
That'd be the last thing you wanted to do. You do that
over
part
that
last.
new parking lot.
But whose equipment is that? That's not our equipment.
That's not our equipment. That is Western Hills. That's the pools. That's them building their tennis courts. They're not supposed to be coming through our parking lot, but they are.
Okay, I don't know that that's in our purview to deal with the issue.
But I mean,
agree
we're not.
with- I agree
But
with
that's
Bill.
part of it. I mean, we're
Yeah.
getting bids. We're moving forward on getting the things in place to do that parking lot. But once again, I personally, and I think most of the council would probably agree with this, we're not going to be breaking ground on that. We're not going to be putting in a brand new, sparkly, nice concrete parking lot as long as they're running extremely heavy equipment over it.
Concur, and there's gonna be more heavy equipment when we go and dig up all the.
Right.
Caliche and other stuff that's in
Sure.
the back area that's gonna
Sure.
be redone as green space. That's gonna be heavy equipment to dig it up. It's
Sure.
gonna be big trucks of, hauling off.
Right.
So, the idea that it's gotta be done in sequence and the sequences have to be done in the correct order, I think is absolutely correct. Well, we might be able to get money, ideas of how much it's gonna cost as we approach each sequence, but I don't know that we can do it now. The Park Commission at one point did hand out, at one of the meetings that I attended, Bobby, I think you might have been there too, just a one-page estimate of cost of some of these.
Yeah,
Did I send that around?
I think so.
Do we have that? If not, I'll send that around.
I have it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have it here.
I have it.
Can you get a copy of it made on the printer here?
Yeah, I think the one thing about that is that was specifically for the parking lot and the upper park. It didn't talk at all about the sprinkler system
That's true.
or any of the other kind of improvements that they want to make. It doesn't even talk about fencing, for example.
Yeah,
So
I'm just fishing for a way to approach Fred's question.
Here's what I would say. Excavate, I mean, I'm just gonna say it quickly in round numbers. Excavation and haul off, 26,000. Curb and gutters, 37. So right there, 60, call it. Concrete, 25, so there's 85. You're gonna need pipe, there's another 30, there's 115. And then paving alternatives, 1, 2, and 3 are, I think that B was not good. We were probably rolling towards concrete. Am I wrong?
That's
So
my
that's
last
200.
understanding.
So there's 330, and then tree care and things like that was another 20. So call it 350, and then another 30 just for round numbers for the Rolling Wood Dog area. So 380. So that doesn't include several things, but at least it gives you a ballpark idea of where we were at,
But that's
Yeah.
plus sprinklers.
not including sprinklers.
Yeah, you gotta add
Yes.
sprinklers, another
Yeah,
50.
because
It probably
that
doesn't
discussed that
include
in time.
Sprinklers are one of the most important parts.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how nice the fields look right now because we've gotten rain. So the weak point in us having beautiful grass on all the fields up there is the sprinkler system, which is very old and has needed
I'm just
to
very
be
thankful
just
that
reconfigured.
council for not letting Western Hills AstroTurf the baseball fields. That's
And I attended one meeting of the Park Commission Planning Group. I get invited to these things and save your time by not having all of you show up. they had a first draft of all the trees and bushes and what I call generically growies that they would want to put in, and that's another $200,000-300,000 right there if they get their way to do the kind of landscaping that some people on the park commission want to do, which is way beyond anything I think is needed, but that's where the park commission is coming from. And so, Fred, all of this is just trying to address your appropriate question of what's this going to cost and when is it going to be, and the answer is
We don't know.
we don't know.
When we get to it.
It will be in phases.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And I have a question. Is it possible that the park commission is looking at safety issues within the park that might somehow be folded into or complemented by
I have not
us?
heard that at any of the meetings.
I'm just curious. And lighting is certainly one thing I thought of.
Well, there has been discussion over many decades that I've been here. I've been living in this community since 1985 about lights and signs in the park, advertising signs to
That's
just.
a no-no.
That has been the
Because of the
consensus.
surrounding,
No, no,
generally
no,
the
no.
surrounding residential
No, no, for
being
what?
affected by that.
No for lights or signs.
No.
Oh, okay. We need some lights for the kids if they're playing in the dark.
We don't
Well,
want 'em-
that's-
we don't want them up there.
They
in the
don't
dark.
allow playing
We
in
don't
the
want
dark.
the kids playing in the dark. Is the community
Oh, okay.
consensus is what I'm saying, Kathy.
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
taking a position personally. I'm saying community consensus for decades has been, we don't want the kids playing in the dark. We don't want the kids playing up there
Okay.
after dark. And we don't want any signs on the fences advertising.
And we don't want the traffic from,
Yeah. And the
additional
noise.
traffic when it's dark. Okay.
So
Got it.
reopen that
I'm
can of
catching
worms
up.
if you wish. It's been one for a while. My point now on item, I'm going back to item 7 just so we can complete the agenda in our meeting, is I just noticed in my walking around the park, which Patsy and I do for our exercise walks on occasion, that there's a good bit of erosion on the new, very nicely done landscaping up there by the court concession stand. I don't know what we're calling that building.
Field house.
It's never had a concession stand in it as best I know, but anyway,
No,
the field house,
it
between
is.
the field house and the walking path, there's a good bit of erosion because we've had rain. And I only want to make the point that one of the things we can do is if this group participates in funding a project, we have the right under the statute to also fund maintenance and ongoing care of that project. And so that addresses partly Bobby's issue about what is our scope, what's our permissible scope. And I think that with respect to whatever we do with the upper fields, that is going to be something we should think about and budget on an ongoing basis. Is if we're going to have a bunch of irrigation up there, that requires periodic maintenance. If we're going to have a bunch of growies up there, it requires water. Those kind of things I think are possibly going to fall onto our budget on an ongoing basis. And I don't want to do anything about it tonight except to make everybody aware that our scope could include maintenance and ongoing care of projects in which we are involved in funding.
Brian, if I may. We met with an arborist because there are some issues with some trees. Oak wilt over there at Nixon, but this isn't oak wilt. This is just natural stuff. But meeting with the arborist, we walked by that erosion area. I know there was, I think probably, I believe Stay Bull was applied to that gravel, which is an agent that is supposed to help keep it in place. Apparently it's not enough to keep it in place. I think there is another agent called Stay Lock, which basically turns it into asphalt. I'm not sure we want to do that. I did ask the arborist, are there other options? He suggested a higher, larger grit decomposed granite that's apparently available that will be less likely to wash out to the degree that the existing decomposed granite up there washes out. So that might be something that could be looked at.
And that we could fund if the park commission and the council wanted to move in those directions. But I think we need to do that to preserve the we haven't paid for it yet, but that's one of the items in our, project group that we have $31,000 for or something like
It's
that.
approved to be paid, we're just waiting on the time.
We're waiting on the time of the publication. I did go back, by the way, and look at minutes of meetings back into '23. We have had the quote, public hearings for all of for our, resolutions 4, 5, and 6, that are the ones that are on the budget. And so, one meeting was opened and closed within the same minute, literally within the same minute, and a couple of years ago. But it's because of the vociferousness of all the public comment that we're getting here. I have completed items number 1 through 8, I believe. Do I have any further discussion or a motion to adjourn?
You have item 9, I don't know if you're gonna hit it.
Project
Report.
progress reports.
We feel like you already addressed that.
Okay, project. That's your item.
So, item number 9 is the progress, or the project progress report was intended just for the board's reference to make sure that we don't lose track of the ongoing projects we have, make sure that everyone's comfortable with these are the identified projects, and this is the most up-to-date information we have as to the status of those projects. So what we're going to do on a staff level is, as you contemplate additional projects, like the possible, anything might be done for the erosion control measures from item number 7, if that becomes its own project, we'll initiate one more sheet so you can see where that project is, and if it ends up just kind of washing out and you don't want to move forward with it, we'll take it out then. But that way, every month with every single RCDC meeting that you have a list of the status of every single project the staff believes that you have. And that way everyone's on the same page, nothing gets missed, nothing gets added or subtracted that shouldn't be. So I guess this is an opportunity for anyone on the board to tell us we got something wrong. Or if there's something we can present in a different manner, that would be helpful as well.
Okay. Now, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I so moved, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor say aye or vote with your feet.
Aye.
Aye.